These aren't just your run-of-the-mill touchdowns or interceptions. They're the kind of maneuvers that will have you reaching for the rewind button time and time again. From audacious trick plays to strategic masterstrokes, each moment captured here represents the pinnacle of football ingenuity. So brace yourself for an exploration of the genius plays that have left fans in awe for generations. Let's start with Dan Marino pulling off this unforgettable move in a game pinning the Miami Dolphins against rival New York Jets in 1994. The Hall of Fame quarterback had led the Dolphins back from a 24-6 halftime deficit. But with the Dolphins still trailing 24-21 and under a minute left, the tension was sky high. The Dolphins were threatening when on a 2nd-and-1 play, Marino hit wide receiver Mark Ingram for a 10-yard gain. With just one timeout left, all eyes were glued to the field. Would Marino and the Dolphins pull off the unexpected victory, or would the Jets manage to stop them? With only 27 seconds left on the clock and on the 8-yard line, Marino ran to the line of scrimmage yelling "clock, clock, clock" and signaled to his team he was going to spike the ball to stop the game clock. Marino took the snap while both Dolphins and Jets players were lazily standing around anticipating the spike. That's when Marino pulled off the play that all Dolphins fans cherish and Jets fans wish they could forget, as he stepped back, faked the spike, then threw a dart to Ingram while barely being defended by cornerback Aaron Glenn for a touchdown and securing a 28-24 victory. The famous fake spike play helped pave the way for a Dolphins AFC division title, and the Jets would go on to lose every game for the rest of the season. The stage was set as New England went head-to-head against the Carolina Panthers, both teams hungry for victory and the coveted Lombardi Trophy. As the clock ticked down and the tension soared, with just 2 minutes and 51 seconds remaining in the fourth quarter, the Patriots found themselves trailing 22-21. And then, in a stroke of strategic brilliance, linebacker Mike Vrabel was called into action. But he wasn't just there to play defense or to be a blocker. No, Vrabel checked into the game as a tight end, setting the stage for a daring trick play that will go down in Super Bowl history. As quarterback Tom Brady received the snap, he faked the handoff to running back Antoine Smith. That's when Vrabel found himself open near the end zone and caught this beautiful go-ahead touchdown pass. It was a make-or-break moment, a time when champions are forged. But it didn't end there. In the next Super Bowl, the Patriots tried it again. This time they were taking on the Philadelphia Eagles in Super Bowl 39. The score was tied 7-7 in the third quarter, and both teams were desperate to find a way to score. That's when Vrabel came back on the field. Just like the year before in the biggest game of the year, he ran a special play. Everyone watched, wondering if it would work again. It did! Vrabel caught the ball, surprising the other team just like he did before, showing that sometimes old tricks can still do the trick even in the big game. It was a close one, but he pulled off a remarkable juggling catch, contributing to the Patriots taking the lead in a final 24-21 victory. Now, for this next one, get ready to rewind to understand the play to its fullest. It all happened when the St. Louis Rams hosted the Seattle Seahawks. The Seahawks, who were coming off a Super Bowl victory, boasted one of the best teams against the punt, with only allowing 21 return yards in the first 7 games. But when Seahawks punter John Ryan lined up the team for a routine punt, the Rams showed that this play would be anything but routine. As the punt sailed through the air, all eyes were on Tavon Austin and the Rams players who were setting up for the blocks. But as Austin was giving the performance of a lifetime to draw in the defenders, it was Stedman Bailey who caught the punt on the opposite side of the field and returned it untouched for a touchdown. The play was so well acted out that even the cameraman was fooled, focusing on Austin while Bailey made a spectacular run. It was a moment of pure trickery and skill that even had Seahawks coach Pete Carroll arguing. But to add even more insult to one of the league's best special teams units, the Rams weren't done. Already winning 28-26 and with only 2:55 left on the clock, the Rams punter Johnny Hecker threw a touchdown pass to running back Benny Cunningham on a fake punt. With the chance to be called champions hanging in the balance, the Super Bowl is rarely the platform coaches start using trick plays, but with high risk comes high rewards. When the New Orleans Saints were trailing the Indianapolis Colts in Super Bowl 44, Saints head coach Sean Payton called for one of those high-risk plays. It was February 7, 2010 at Sun Life Stadium in Miami Gardens, and the New Orleans Saints found themselves trailing 6-10 and desperate to ignite some life into the team. Coming out of the half and set to kick off to the Colts, Coach Payton felt that it was now or never to get that spark to give his team that motivation. So while fans behind the screen or at the game were trying to get set for the second half thinking this was going to be a meaningless kickoff, they had no clue they were about to watch history. Named Ambush, the Saints lined up for the kickoff, but instead of kicking it deep, kicker Thomas Morstead went for an onside kick. The ball bounced off the Colts' Hank basket and was recovered by Saints defensive back Chris Race. Seizing the opportunity, the Saints scored a touchdown and went on to win 31-17, claiming their first and only championship in team history. In an interview with ESPN, Coach Payton admitted that he knew before the biggest game of his career he was running the play and knew halftime was the perfect time. But while being interviewed, he noticed he instructed the officials to have the kickoff sent in the wrong direction and panicked. In much relief, he was able to have the officials switch the direction of the kickoff, and the rest became Super Bowl history. So you think that was a gutsy Super Bowl call? Then let's take a look at the most recent cardiac play that was called in the big game. In Super Bowl 52, the Philadelphia Eagles were trying to capture their first ever Lombardi trophy, capture revenge against the evil empire New England Patriots. Earlier in the game, the Patriots attempted their own trick play, but it was unsuccessful when Tom Brady was unable to reel in a pass from wide receiver Danny Amendola. But it was successful in planting an idea in Eagles quarterback Nick Foles. When the Eagles found themselves in a fourth down on the Patriot 1-yard line, they knew something big needed to happen. Despite holding on to a 3-point lead and nearing halftime, the overall energy of the game was swinging to the Patriots, who have shown time and time again are capable of orchestrating big plays and comebacks on the biggest stage. But it was then that the crazy idea came to Foles. He ran to the sideline to quickly pitch the idea to his coach, famously asking, "You want Philly Philly?" Got the nod of approval. During the play, Foles lined up in a shotgun formation, but moved to his right yelling "Kill, kill," trying to fool the defensive into an audible call. That's when the ball was snapped to running back Corey Clement, who reversed it to tight end Trey Burton, a high school quarterback who threw a touchdown to a wide-open Nick Foles. The play, now famously called the Philly Special, helped re-establish the tone for the Eagles sideline and helped push them to their first ever Super Bowl victory. Now, with nicknames like Icebox and Hot Hands, and cameos including Emmitt Smith and John Madden, the 1994 kids' football movie Little Giants is beloved by many. But would you believe a famous play from the movie would serve as inspiration for a few teams? Yes, we're talking about the annexation of Puerto Rico. Now, while technically not a legal play, it has been modified to fit within the set rules of the NFL. Cam Newton and the Carolina Panthers were just the team to show the world that this play can be used at the right time. In 2001, the play was on full display with the Carolina Panthers squaring off against the Houston Texans. Cam Newton took the snap, placing the ball between the legs of fullback Richie Brockle. Pay attention to Brockle and how he runs untouched into the end zone, while the Texans focus on Newton, D'Angelo Williams, and Steve Smith, who went in the opposite direction. One of the best trick plays on this list without a doubt. Who else suffered this trick play out of a movie? The Denver Broncos were in for a surprise when they fell victim to what they called the Bummerooski, named after the late Bum Phillips. Quarterback Phillip Rivers sneakily hands off the ball to fullback Lorenzo Neal between his legs and continues to the right with running back LaDainian Tomlinson. All to draw the attention of defenders as Neal scrambles to his left and barrels his way into the end zone. Our last trick play has gone down in history as one of the most reviewed plays and is still reviewed to this day even though it was performed 25 years ago. The setting was the 1999 AFC wildcard game. The teams were the Tennessee Titans and Buffalo Bills, and the play was none other than the Music City Miracle. With a 13-3 record, the Titans had to settle for second place in their division and a wildcard berth. Eager to show they deserved to be considered the team to beat in the playoffs, the 11-5 Buffalo Bills were ready to give them all they can handle. Late in the fourth quarter, and in an amazing play in itself, Bills quarterback Ron Johnson rolled out with one shoe and connected with wide receiver Peerless Price. This set up a 24-yard field goal by Steve Christie, put the Bills up over the Titans 16-15 with 16 seconds remaining. On the ensuing kick return, many expected the Titans to set up a Hail Mary situation. But Titans coach Jeff Fisher believed he could catch the special teams by surprise by calling for a play dubbed the home run throwback. The play started with what was thought a strategic move by utilizing a pooch kick to limit the chance of a return, but little did the Bills know it helped set up history. The kick was fielded by fullback Lorenzo Neal, who immediately handed the ball to tight end Frank Wycheck. Patiently waiting for the defenders to take the bait, Wycheck then jumped, spun, and threw the ball across the field to a waiting Kevin Dyson. Dyson then took the ball and sprinted to the end zone, untouched, and into NFL immortality. Do you think these trick plays left you in awe? Check out these other insane moments.